وإياكم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. صلى الله وسلم على سيدنا محمد أن تعلم التعليم وتذكر تكفينا نفع الانتفاع والفائدة والاستفادة حتى بالتمسك بكتاب الله وسنة رسوله صلى الله عليه وسلم والدعاء عند خير الكلام على الدعاء سبحانه وتعالى وتوابه وقربه. سبحان الله والحمد لله ولا إله إلا الله أكبر ولا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العظيم. سبحان الله وبحمده سبحان الله العظيم. اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد ولد الساري وذلك الجاد المعنى في كل أقوالنا وعلى آله وصحبه نور على لقد غير الله سيدنا تعالى الكلمات عبد الحق من كل سبب وقل يا ولي الرسول يا رسول الله. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. إن شاء الله continue with our lesson in Tawjīh Nabīh about Bārīh by Habib Umar Ihsaan and Hafidh and Shaykh Ihsaan. We ended up yesterday's lesson speaking about the qualities of the people of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that will be responsible for the reviving of the state in these end of times. More than one occasion, especially people listen to most talks on Thursday night, when he speaks about those people who will be responsible or on whose hands Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will cause the revival of the deen to take place. Speaks of people who have hearts are connected to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, or they have hearts that are concerned with Allah, right? But they have intense states with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is one of the main qualities, and this is what we ended up yesterday when Habib was asking the students, أنتم ما عرفتم لما تشوقت قلوب أهل الصدق بينكم? Do you not know what is it that the hearts of those who are truthful amongst you yearn for? Right? Meaning that they are living on this earth, but their hearts are not like the hearts of ordinary people. And this is a very important point to consider. When people sometimes read about the lives of the awliya, right, or they read about the lives of the pious, and even if one to read about the lives of the Sahaba, generally the image that is created are valiant warriors, brave men, people of courage and valor, right? What we would call mainly qualities. But at the same time, and this unfortunately Western materialist mind cannot understand this, these same brave, courageous, valiant warriors had the softest and the most tender of hearts that would be moved to tears when they are involved in their ibadah and their worship of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. How many times in the stories of the Sahaba don't we read or Sayyidina Abu Bakr or Sayyidina Umar anhu crying? This particular thing happened and then they were moved to tears. Right? Of the Sahaba. Sayyidina Abbas anhu would be reciting the Quran and he comes across the story of Surah Yusuf and he's crying. The Prophet himself. Right? And so being courageous and valiant and being a warrior does not take away from your emotional tenderness and softness with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Likewise, when we look at the awliya of our time, we look at the people, the du'at, those who are involved in the job of the revival of the ummah, and especially the concern of the hearts of the ummah. Because of their awe, the spiritual awe that they have, we would tend to think that they are very serious. They are very austere in their ways. One would think that they might even be strict with people. But if you don't interact with them on a one-on-one basis, you don't really get an inkling into this very, very soft nature. Their hearts are softer than the hearts of babies, right? And they are concerned. And if one has to be involved with them and see how they worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in private, then this is another story altogether, right? If we can describe the worshipping of the awliya of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in their private quarters, the closest thing we can make a parable, is like a child yearning for its mother, or a child that has lost its mother. Now it is crying, or like the tree trunk which was yearning for the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, right? And this is an intense state that they are in, not only in their private quarters, but it is something that is constant with them all the time. And this is one of the biggest secrets that the awliya carry with them, is this intense and this immense love that they have for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It's a relationship of love, right? And they yearn to meet Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They yearn to want to be with him. They yearn for the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam to be with him. If they had it in their hands, they would desire to pass away immediately. And that is why one of the du'as that the people make for the awliya is Allahumma habib ilayhim al-baqa'a fina. Allah make beloved to them that they want to remain with them. So they really get sorted out, because if they want to pass, they pass the test already, right? And so these hearts are important to inculcate in them the love of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The hearts of the people that they are working. And we as people who are on the spiritual path, or who want to be on the spiritual path, want to be involved, and these are the types of hearts we need to cultivate. If a person is not spending private time, if you are not seeing to the weeds of your heart, if you are not watering your heart with the dhikr of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, obviously then you are falling short. And these hearts are available in each and every single generation. It is only for a person to raise their aspirations, be sincere in their direction, and the rest of them from us. وَإِلَى مَا اشْتَاقَ قُلُوبُ أَهْلِ الْمَعْرِفَةِ أَمَامَ. Do you not know what is it that the hearts of the knowers of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala have yearned for before you? وَقَدْ مَضَوْا قُرُونًا كَثِيرًا. Many generations have passed. وَقَرْنُنَا يَحْتَاجُ إِلَى ذَوْقٍ ذَاكَ الذَّوْقِ. This generation of ours is in need of the spiritual and experiential tasting that these previous generations have had. وَشَوْقٍ مِنْ ذَاكَ الشَّوْقِ, the yearning that they had. به تصف الصفوف في نصاب الحبيب صلى الله عليه وسلم. It is through this that the rows will be arranged, the ranks will be arranged for those who will be giving victory to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam and to his Sharia. And so your relationship with Allah and the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam is according to the intensity of the love that you have. And Habib Umar always mentioned that he says, Al-Murafaqati huna ala hasb al-murafaqati. Your companionship with the Prophet in the hereafter will be dependent on how you have his companionship in this world. The hereafter is not something where, okay, you know what, we're going to go and then suddenly, we're going to get perks for nothing. Inshallah, that will be, but the basis and the basics are, you do the work here, then the rewards are congruent to the work that you did. If you didn't live with the Prophet in your actions, in your movements, in your words, in your deeds, in your home, in your business, then you expect to be with him 24/7 in the hereafter. And there are people who are striving, and the Prophet doesn't even leave their mind, right? Their relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in terms of them being conscious of Allah doesn't leave them any instant. You think Allah is going to give a status in the hereafter for someone who strove for this relationship in this world, just like someone who was negligent, right? That is why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the Quran says, look in this world how we have preferred some over others. In terms of wealth, what is the disparity between the rich and the poor? In health, right? And Allah said, وَلَلْآخِرَةِ أَكْبَرُ دَرَجَاتٍ وَأَكْبَرُ تَفْضِيلًا. The hereafter, right, is even greater in degrees, greater in virtue and comparison. One subhanallah, that one person, two people together, the entire life did ibadah exactly the same. One just said subhanallah one more time more than another. The difference between the stations in the hereafter will be like the difference between the heavens and the earth. Right? So this is the real investment. This is the real, what do we call, insurance policy that people need to do. Right? And unfortunately, we completely fail from this. That we are buying over the time, we are buying over these things that are not mistake. These are disputable in the eyes of the Muslim. Therefore, the greatest regret, as the Prophet ﷺ said, that the person went ahead and then after, was the time that they spent negligent of the dhikr of Allah. وإذا جاءت هذه القلوب هذه الأنواع, what is the result? He says, if the Ummah and these spiritual, experiential and spiritual tasting comes about, and we find these types of hearts and these types of states, Wallahi, it is an oath by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, مَا أَهَمَّتْنَا مَظَاهِرُ الْكَفَرَةِ. We are not concerned with all of the manifestations of power of the disbelievers, and their plots and their plans and their weapons and whatever they want to, whatever is at their disposal and whatever they amass against the Muslims, these do not concern us one bit. It's the hearts of the believers on the state. وَلَا مَالِيَاتُهُمْ, whatever they might have amassed of material wealth or resources. إِنَّمَا أَهَمَّنَا إِعْرَاضُ قُلُوبِ الْمُؤْمِنِينَ عَنْ قُلُوبِهِمْ. What is our concern? Our concern is the turning away of the hearts of the believers from their true treasures, from the treasure of the Prophet, the relationship with Allah. And this is what proves the heart of the awliya. This is what concerns them in the day. They're not worried about the disbelievers. For Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala destroyed all the army of the disbelievers in an instant. And they have yaqeen and faith that is impossible, that is possible for us. Right? Just as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala destroyed Fir'aun. Likewise, Allah can destroy it in today's times. The American army, the Israeli army, and all of their weapons. One earthquake and all of their weapons are destroyed by Allah. Is it difficult for Allah? No. But that help for Allah will only come upon the Ummah when the Ummah has these types of heart. So what is the concern? What should our concern be? Is what is delaying that help from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah has put conditions for that help in the Quran. Right? This is the concern of the فإنما أهمنا إعراض قلوب المؤمنين عن قلوبهم. Our concern is that the hearts of the believers have turned away from their true treasures. فأهمنا التولي وإيثار غير الله على الله. We are concerned that Muslims have turned away and they have preferred other than Allah over Allah. They have preferred what is despicable over this relationship with Allah. الذي ظهرت مظاهره في التعامل. Right? The manifestations of this turning away from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and its negligence of people's relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala manifested what? In their interactions, right? In their dealings, in their business dealings, in their interactions, in the marriage relationships, the relationships, the children relationships between Muslims and their neighbors, relationships between Muslims and even the non-Muslims. Well, akhlaq, and in their character, this manifestation. Right? Muslims today, unfortunately, when we describe Muslims, they are described with the worst of characters. Right? Obviously, people are not concerned about their relation. The effect of turning away from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is manifested in these things. One nazar in people's faces. Right? Gazing upon haram. Looking at things which does not concern one. Looking at haram or the sins of the gaze, not just looking at it which is forbidden. Right? It is also looking upon this dunya with an eye of esteem. Anything of this dunya, whether it's buildings, whether it's cars, whether it's estates, whether it's houses, whether it's palaces, whether it's food, right? Anything of this dunya, if there is reverence in your heart for it, then this is a sin. Because everything in this dunya is despicable in the eyes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. One other over and above, looking at that which is haram. Now, they say today you have to fear Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Before you fear Allah with your eye, you have to fear Allah with your fingers. Before you press on that next link. Right? How much shaitan has entered into not just the homes of the believers and operations entered into their pockets. And the phone also stays in the top pocket, next to the hand. Right? So how close has the blocks of shaitan got into the hearts of the believers? Do we fear Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Of devices. It's become so normal just to watch, even if you're watching a documentary or watching something of benefit, right? But we might not even realize that there might be even this there which we are required to do our days from. And at the very least, to make it still far our eyes did fall on something in a group. And the hadith is very clear. When a person commits Ihsaan, left thought appears on the hand. They make still far, the back thought is removed. Right? For a person who doesn't make istighfar, then the heart becomes completely stable. Then this heart is not moved. Like it's reminded of Allah, it's not moved. As a figure of Allah, it is not moved. When it is warned about the punishment of the hereafter, it is not moved. When one speaks to such a heart about the Prophet and yearning for closeness, it is not moved by this heart. That when the eyesight becomes weak, a person notices. You know what? I don't see the way. So the person's hearing, right, starts to become defective. They are away. What do they do? What do they do? They go to the doctor, they go to the optometrist, they go to whatever to sort out the problem. Right? But when the hearts become hard, when the hearts are not feeling, when the hearts are not responsive, do we not think we need to sort this heart out? Go to the doctors of the hearts to sort this out. Right? And so looking at that which is haram in terms of what is impermissible in today's science, this is a huge test, especially with the youth. Right? Therefore, it's imperative for uh, guardians to marry their children off before they fall into the sins of the eyes. Because the sins of the eyes lead up to many, many, many. And a person's life after marriage, right, to a large extent will depend on how they fear Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala before it. Right? Now, it's like there's tawbah and there is turning back to Allah right afterward. Right? Why do we always want to mend our relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Right? Or have a bandaged, or we always call it a band-aid relationship with Allah. Do we not want to give our children a fair chance at high spiritual states? Right? People that worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala or love, right? And at the end of their life, they said that the thought of committing even a makruh act never ever crossed our mind. What was this earlier that existed? And now we're allowing our children that opportunity. But we bring up our children so that when they suddenly realize that they want to rectify their relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, come to the spiritual path, they have a lifetime of spiritual baggage, which takes a lifetime to sort out. And then the last one of the eyes is to look upon another human being with the eye of disdain. Not just a believer. The Hadith says a believer, and the Mashayikh say any human being. If you think that you are better than any human being, then you have right. The Prophet said, enough, right? It is enough for a person to have this amount of evil in his heart that he looks down and disparages his fellow people. It's the worst form of sin. Right? It has to be in the shirk. It's enough to put so much evil that it's enough what? Enough to even send him to the hellfire. Enough to throw him into perdition. In that he just disparages another believer. What is that disparaging? Someone comes and sits next to you in the masjid or in a gathering and he just knocks your knee. You up, right? Why you up? Because he most probably sometimes it's also a mistake. How much attention do we need to pay to our hearts? And this manifestation of turning away from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is also manifested on people's hearts, on people's speech and their action. وَعُصِيَ اللَّهُ بِاللَّيْلِ وَالنَّهَارِ, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is being disobeyed day in and day out. Right? We complain if it's potholes on the road, right? We're complaining. Everyone's complaining about the corruption in the government. Everyone's complaining about this. Everyone's complaining. Who is there complaining about the believers disobeying? Right? That is what we ought to be complaining about. And who is working to rectify that situation? The manifestations of evil in the world and dunya, and even in our lifetime, right? In our governments, is all a reflection of our state and our relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Right? The destruction that we see happening in the Muslim land is a reflection of the hearts of Muslims. Right? They have bombed our hearts before they bombed our land. Right? And they have poisoned our hearts before they poisoned our water resources in our agricultural land. This is always the reflection. Everything has an internal and everything has external. For the third people, Allah is being disobeyed by day, by night, secret and in open. في منازل المسلمين, in the houses of the Muslims, وبيوتهم, their homes, وأسواقهم, and in their business places and in their marketplaces. How many businessmen is there who does not even know and is not even studied the bare basics of what it means to be able to do business according to the rules of the Sharia? How many times don't we get people coming and complaining to the ulama about this one with bad business deals, or this one went wrong, and this one ran away with this one's well, whatever, right? And when you come and you sit down and they bring the entire business from scratch for the past 20, 30 years is based on complete harm, based on complete usually on interest or business dealings which are not permissible in the Sharia. And simple things. For example, you're not allowed to sell an item until you take possession of it. You order something, right? It hasn't yet even reached you, you haven't taken possession of it, you want to sell it off. This is the deal in the Sharia, which is impermissible. Over and above when it comes to a person dealing with, for example, gold jewelry or silver jewelry, the rules of riba and how one needs to pay for it on the spot. People dealing with riba and they give dealing with gold, but they will give gold on credit, right? They immediately. And then further than that, no records being kept, just word of mouth. I told you, we made a deal. It was an agreement that we had. No written agreement, nothing was in terms of figures. Now we come back, this one said 1 million, this one said no, it was 5 million. How do you solve these problems? And when it comes to business, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the Quran, the longest verse of the Quran, the longest verse in the Quran is which verse? The verse in Surah Al-Baqarah, Allah speaks about it. Right? Because the fear of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the taqwa of a person manifests in the way he deals with money. Right? Ghazali says, don't look at a person how short his robe or his kurta is or how tattered his clothes are. Right? Don't look at the worship of a person you see in the person's office. It's testing what the iman and the dilm, and then he's fine. Right? And Habib also mentions, he says, when people ask about taking from scholars who might not be, or we don't know what their state is, but a person, for example, there's someone in your locality you want to learn from, you take the deen, you're taking the deen from someone, obviously, it is an important method. Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said, Deenukum innama huwa lahmukum wa damukum. Your deen, it is your flesh and it is your blood. فانظروا amman ta'khudhu hadhihi deen. Pay attention or beware or look at whom you take this deen. خذوا عن الذين استقاموا ولا تأخذوا عن الذين ماتوا. Take your deen from those who are upright, who are steadfast. Do not take your deen from those who are wavering. Right? And so a person's piety would manifest in the way they do business dealings, their dealings with the opposite gender, and their dealings with this technological effect. Right? These are the 3 requirements which are given if a person wants to take benefit from something. Person can be a scholar, like he's setting on social media the whole day, right? And interacting, talking to this one, talking to this one, not even being aware of private conversations between himself and someone from the opposite gender. It becomes so common now also for ulama to receive questions from women. And this is not appropriate. It's a form of privacy if you are involved in any even WhatsApp chat or whatever it is with someone of the opposite gender. In the past, this is a form of khalwa as well. Even if it is with regards to private, and if it's private matters in that woman's life, then it's more so that you're not supposed to be listening to it. Right? Because it's her private matter. Right? What about her husband? What about her family? What gives the ulama the right to listen to people's private matters in the absence of the knowledge of mahram or someone that is close to her? And she was really and truly fearful of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. She would make the means to ensure that if she is having a problem, that it's done within the confines of the Sharia. The Sharia's rules, there is no khalwa between a man and a woman under any circumstances. There's no exceptions to the rule. And we notice that when people, or when ulama, or when scholars, or when du'a take the prerogative into their own hands, then we see the results of it. Because the Sharia of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is supreme. No person has a right to go beyond the Sharia. And any person that goes beyond the Sharia, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will humiliate him and face. They've done it constantly. If it's a mistake, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will give that person opportunity to come in. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, as I was saying, is being disobeyed by night and by day. It's secret and open in the houses and homes of Muslims and in the marketplaces. وتجرؤوا إلى المواطن الشريفة ومنازل عزيزة خالق الله فيها وعصوا الله فيها. Right? Even in holy places, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has been disobeyed. Holy places like the Haram. There's a person goes from Umar and Mecca and Medina, person can be sitting in front of the Kaaba, but they'll be on their phone looking at some post or some clip or whatever. Right? Or in the masajid, the holy places. Now, even in the graveyards, there's no more sacred space in front of the Hujra Sharif of the Prophet as well. Right? People are walking and they check their phones, or their phone is ringing with a ringtone of a movie or a singer or someone who are the enemies of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Right? Where haven't we been? Where hasn't the carpet been pulled off from under people out us? وتجرؤوا إلى مواطن شريفة ومنازل عزيزة خالق الله فيها. Right? وعصوا الله فيها. فيا منقذ فيا منقذ أنقذ. فالمزاني يا منقذ, oh Allah, you are the Savior. Save the Ummah. Save people. Right? This is the concern that people need to have. We need to be concerned about our families, our spouses, our children. Right? And are they in the obedience or in the disobedience of Allah? In the Muslim Ummah, the disobedience of Allah is not something that we just take lightly. In the past, if we read the history of people in the past, if one person didn't attend, right, in the whole locality, one person didn't attend the Fajr Salah, everyone knew about it. Why is it? Because he was the only one who didn't attend. In the city of Tarim, this was the practice. If someone didn't attend the Fajr Salah for one day, they left him because they thought, okay, you know what, he might be ill. Second day, might be. On the third day, they would go with the janaza, what do they call it, the bari, they carry the body and they go after the person's house waiting for his janaza to come home. They knock on the door, what happened? Inna lillahi wa inna ilaihi raji'un. They give condolence, what happened? So and so passed away. No, he didn't pass away. He didn't pass away. Why isn't he in the masjid? Right? Why isn't he in the masjid? And it was a huge form of embarrassment for a person not to be in the masjid. Right? Today it's absolutely fine, not in the masjid. We don't even care about it. We don't even know. And if we know people that are not really for Salah, from our own family, from our own friends, from our own neighbors, what are our strategies to help them? We just say, okay, no, they're not doing Salah. Salah is the most important aspect of the deen. When the Salah of the Ummah comes right, the Ummah will come right. The general advice for anyone, not just for any person that complains to any of the Mashayikh. This guy's got business problems, this guy's got problems with his children, this one's got health problems, whatever it is. What's the first advice is? Right, over and above all the other and everything else. So what is the status of this Salah? Are you reading your Salah in Jama'ah 5 times? Right? And even people on the spiritual path, they find after a while, because they're involved in dhikr, and reading, whatever, they think that, okay, you know, it's now fine for us to read our Salah at home or individual. This is obviously a problem. Obviously, in the Shafi'i madhab, for a man who is married, it's a practice or it is preferable for him to allow his wife to read in Jama'ah. So he reads in Jama'ah or at home, and then he goes to the masjid. And it is always preferred at home. Doesn't read in Jama'ah. The Shari'ah preferable, obviously. It's virtual also in Jama'ah. But if we know people are not on Salah, we know people are not coming to the masjid, what are our strategies to deal with them? This is also a form of dawah. This is a form of correction of them. The very, very famous story. It's told over and over and over again. Right? When the 6-day war took place, when the war between Egypt and Syria and Israel. Right? And they had attacked the Muslims And even the leader said, we didn't sleep for the next day or 2 days because we weren't sure what the response of the believers were going to be responsible. And they were shocked at the dormancy of them, right? And the discussion that they had amongst themselves, right, was that there's no worry about the Muslims for now because they masajid at the time of Fajr, it's the end. When they masajid at the time of Fajr becomes like the Jum'ah Salah, that is when we need to prepare. This is a famous story that's told over and over again, right? Many people would tend to overlook the importance of Salah and the relationship of Muslims with the Salah as being a means for verification. And you find some people, they are more important things. And you find sometimes conferences will be held discussing the state of the Ummah. The time of Dhuhr goes, the time of Asr goes, and no one stands up to go and read the Salah. A few people stand up and read the Salah, and sometimes even the whole of those conferences are not even reading the Salah. Right? ظهر الفساد في البر والبحر بما كسبت أيدي الناس. We must take our paradigms from the Quran. What are the causes of the issue? What are the causes of the destruction? What are the causes of the falling of the Ummah? What are the causes of rectification? This is not taken from policies. This is not taken from organizations. They're not taken from United Nations studies. This is taken from the Quran. ظهر الفساد في البر والبحر. Right? Corruption is appeared in land and at sea. Because of what people have done with it. فأذاقهم الله الفساد في البر والبحر بما كسبت أيدي الناس. After that, يذيقهم بعض الذي عملوا. And so that Allah may make them taste just some of the results of their actions. Meaning what we see and what the Ummah is going through is only a portion of what they deserve. Allah says in other verses of the Quran that when to take humankind, when to take people to account for their deeds, they will not remain a single moving object on this earth. Right? This should be our first point. Everything is important. We're not saying all the other means are not important, but there needs to be priorities. First things first. You can't fix the roof of a house if the foundations are poor. هؤلاء تعبدنا الله بالشفقة عليهم وتعبدنا بالاهتمام بهم. So these people who have turned away and negligent with regards to the relationship of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has made it a form of worship for us to have compassion for them. Right? It has made it a form of worship for us to be concerned about their affairs. It's a form of worship for you to be concerned about those who are disobeying Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, those who are negligent, those who are not doing correct business dealings, those who are oppressing their wives and their children, those who are. It's a form of worship to be concerned and to bring them back into balance. It was not that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has made it a form of worship for us. ما كان منا معنى بالتذكير ولا للتقصير ولا لإقامة الحديث. There would be no meaning for us to stand up here and remind you, or to talk to you, or to try to give you the insight to these problems, right? And for establishing all this that we are doing. The whole affair of da'wah, the whole affair of having gatherings of knowledge and gatherings of dhikr and bringing people together and reminding them about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the relationship of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the duties toward Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. What is the purpose? If it was that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made it a form of worship, there's no meaning for us. There will be no sense in us doing this, right? ولكن وجدناها أمانة الله. However, we have found that this is the trust that Allah has placed on our shoulders. والعهد الذي عاهدنا المولى عليه تعالى في عرضه. This is the covenant that Allah has taken from us. ومضى من مضى عليه من القوم الكرام. People have come and gone through the generations. What type of people? فرد بعد فرد. وقطب بعد قطب. Farun is a category of Kolia, very high category of Kolia. If we look at the lives of the Awliya, especially those when we talk about Awliya, we are definitely always talking about the scholars as well. There is no wali that is the wali of Allah except that he is a scholar. He is extremely well versed in the Sharia. This is a condition for wilayah, right? to such an extent that they will say Allah does not take an ignoramus as a friend or as a colleague. And were he to take someone, he would teach them first and then he would take them. So there's no such thing as awliya or people who are known to be friends of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and we do not know the rulings of the Sharia and the Islam of Islam. So if first is a category of awliya, it's explained here also is someone that doesn't fall under um, the direction of the Qutb of the time. The Qutb of the time is someone that takes the spiritual rank, as in, so we can say like the leadership position or the director of affairs unto the world. So these are, I mean, just the different names or different categories of awliya. This will be further researched in the books of. So فرد بعد فرد وقطب بعد قطب وهمام بعد همام وبدل بعد بدل. Okay, they are that 40 40 human beings every time Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala chooses for certain spiritual stations and said that they will most commonly be found in the lands of Jannah. So all of these types of people, the highest category of awliya, they love, right? And what do? They just spend their time in caves, they just spend their time in khalwa. Now what do? Right? وصالح بعد الصالحين إلى أن أدركناهم المشايخ. We say until those of our mashayikh whom we have taken from and whom we have met. What was their concern? Their concern was كلهم أدوا حق الأمانة في البلاغ والإبلاغ. Each and every single one of them, right, performed their duty and fulfilled the trust of conveying the message to people. This was it, right? إذ تعبدهم بذلك الجبار القهار. Why? Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, who is Jabbar, who is the overpowerer and the irresistible, He has made it a form of worship for them, right? Ta'abbud means, for example, when you say something is ta'abbud, when a person goes around the Kaaba, the obligation for him to go around the Kaaba 7 times. Right? Someone says, what's the reason you say this is ta'abbudi? Allah has made it obligatory. You don't ask questions why. If we can't find the wisdom in that, alhamdulillah. But if you say, okay, but I don't know why do I need to go around the Kaaba 7 times, why do I know to go between Safa and Marwa, why do I go to Arafat, right? We don't worship our intellect. We worship the creator of our intellect. And so there are certain things which a person might understand and be able to derive the wisdom from. Certain things Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala himself explains the wisdom as to why he wants you to do certain things. And certain things, Allah said it and Allah says it. This is what and so being concerned, conveying the message to these people, wanting them, bringing them back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is a form of worship which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has placed on as a form of responsibility on the shoulders of the greatest of spiritual masters and scholars that have ever lived. Right? And so when they reach these high stations, not that they are concerned about power and they help people, right? They have a duty to perform, and this duty is meant to guide the hearts of people that don't. And likewise, this should be the person. If people want lofty stations with Allah and they want to reach high spiritual stations, this also has to be there. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to rectify and to awaken our hearts and the hearts of our Ummah and to bring people back to Him. And for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to allow many more people to raise in all societies, all countries around the world, all neighborhoods, people who can be around the virtue, people who can be such as people who can be their reminder of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And then people can come back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and Aman alhamdulillah. So stop it. إن الإنسان الذي يقص من الذين آمنوا الصالحات فأصبح. طب.